On Capechi's Corner today, we're going to look at systems of linear inequalities, and this is day 2. In our last lesson, we were given a system of inequalities, and then we graphed them. Today, we're going to do the opposite of that. This time, we're going to be given the graph, and we're going to be asked to write the system of inequalities. So there's a couple things we have to remember. The first thing we need to do, again, let's concentrate on step 1, is we're going to make sure that we write the equation of the line. So we need to find the y-intercept, we need to identify the slope, and we're going to write in slope-intercept form actually minus the equal sign. So we'll get ready to put an inequality symbol in there. Step 2, again, this is where we need to figure out what inequality sign to use. The question is it dashed or solid? And then we need to pick a point in the shaded region. Did we shade above the given line, or did we shade below the given line? And then we're going to use the appropriate inequality symbol. I'm going to repeat step 1 and step 2 as I try to identify the inequality statement for my second inequality as well. Our directions say to write the system of inequalities. So let's first look at this blue arrow here. So we're going to talk about that dashed line. That's a vertical line, and we know that x is equal to 3. So I have x and I have 3, and I have to decide what inequality symbol. I have a dashed line, and I shaded to the left. So that's going to be x is less than 3. So again, all values are less than 3. I have a dashed line, so I use a less than symbol. Now let's take a look at this purple line. This purple line, the first thing I have to do is I have to identify my y-intercept. And that is right here at +1. And my slope. So again, I'm going to pick another point. I'm going to start at 1, and this point goes through the corner of the box. So I went up 1 to the right 1. So if I go up and to the right, my slope is equal to 1. So let's get this set up. So I have y is equal to 1x, which is x. My y-intercept is +1. So I need to figure out what symbol I'm going to write in there. So again, when I'm looking at this line, it looks like I shaded below. So that's going to be a less than symbol. Again, I have a solid line, so it's going to be a less than or equal to symbol. So in the end, here's my system of linear inequalities. I have x is less than 3, and I have y is less than or equal to x plus 1. Okay, let's look at number 2. Let's first start with our green line. That's a horizontal line, so that's a HOI. So I know that I have y, and I notice here that I'm at 2. I also notice that all my shaded region is less than 2, and I have a solid line. So my inequality there is going to be y is less than or equal to 2. Now let's take a look at our pink line. Our pink line, my y-intercept is at 0, right? It's right here. And again, let's figure out what my slope is. There's another point that goes through the corner of the box. And I'm going up and to the right. So my slope is up 1, and then to the right 1, so my slope will be 1. So when I get my inequality set up, I have y, and then I have 1x, which is just x, and my y-intercept is 0. So I don't need to write +0, I just leave it like that. Now again, let's figure out the inequality symbol. I have a dashed line, and I shaded, this part is shaded above. This is going to be y is greater than x. So again, there's my system of linear inequalities. I have y is less than or equal to 2, and y is greater than x. Let's look at our last example for today. So let's start with the red line. Now again, that's a vertical line, so I know that's a vux. So I'm going to have x. That appears to be x at -1. And I shaded to the right. So it's going to be greater than or equal to. Because I notice that the line is dashed, I'm going to have greater than. So I have x is greater than -1. I'm going to do the same thing with the gray line. Again, this looks like it hits my x-axis at 2. So I'll set that up. I shaded to the left of that, and again, this is also a dashed line, so that symbol is going to be x is less than 2. So my system of linear inequalities is x is greater than -1, and x is less than 2.